Bag, I want the bag. Work my way from a garden to a track. Flip it from a track to a plot full of acres. Do it for the farmers and the producers and the makers. What we even here for? Occasionally I ask it. I know it's more than struggling, anticipating the casket. Reap what we sow, trying to fill up my basket. Life's a plantation, I self-law and master. Over the plot I've been granted on this planet. Now it's slanted, cause the chosen been supplanted. But if you overstand it, it was spoken. Fractured, but we ain't broken. Even though some would rather play the role of token, we growing. Black through the essence of a presence. We carry the blood of gods, we carry the mind of peasants. Rich black gardens, future look more like Eden. Multiply seeds like the seed banks in Sweden. Rep my planners on plan according to season. Beat one code, switching it up is treason. Black power, family what we eat. Either we get fed or we feed. Beat one egg.
What's growing on? What's growing on? What is growing on? Welcome back to B1 Ag, Daily Bread Podcast. I'm John Henry Harris, and we also have Farmer Brown, the MC. Here at B1 Ag, we focus on Black agriculture as it pertains to agricultural production, health, food, marketing, nutrition, and economics, all for the Black family and for the Black community. Welcome Black to the garden. Hopefully, today, we're back into the NFL season. We're almost halfway through the NFL season. And, no cap, as in no Kaepernick. But those NFL athletes that you see are some of the most well-conditioned athletes on the planet. And what we're going to talk about today is how you can eat like an NFL player. And there are common foods that these NFL players eat, and we will discuss these foods and help you understand what they eat and how you can incorporate these into your own diets. Because as many nutritionists point out, actually the foundations of the foods that these NFL players eat is good for us as well. If it's good for some of the best athletes in the world, please believe it's good for us, for us as well. So today we will be tackling the subject, or even just give me some information really about how to eat like an NFL player. Now, as far as their diet is concerned, it's not just about being healthy for the season. It's about maintaining their health, maintaining their weight through the season, and also healing and recovering as they damage their bodies in one of the most brutal sports that we have in America, and that's NFL football, American football. So we're going to dive deep into this and also show you some, and also give you some information about these foods and how you can grow it yourself or support other farmers that grow these foods as well. So Farmer Brown, let's dive deep.
First, I'd just like to say peace to the B1 family. In this game of life, we come across a lot of collisions. Just like the NFL is a sport where there's a lot of confrontation and collisions. I mean, psychologically and sometimes physically, we come across those same collisions just playing this game of life. But what we like to do today is just contextualize when we think about ag marketing, when we think about opportunities for entrepreneurship, how we know that sports is very important in what we call North America and Turtle Island. But how do we make this something that's beneficial to the B1 family?
Now, there are three staples that are in almost every NFL player's refrigerator as revealed by the insider.com. And those three food staples are salmon, hummus, and good old sweet potatoes. Now, the salmon is good for maintaining muscle and preventing injury. One serving of salmon can account for 41% of a person's recommended daily intake of protein. Now, the hummus is a good source of protein and can help even regulate blood sugar. Now we know that diabetes is a big problem in the B1 family. Well, hummus is made from chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and they're a good source of protein, carbs, fiber, and healthy fats. They're also high in calcium, which is key for healing. Now, I can tell you now, like I have a product that I serve called Love Salads. And, I have these salads topped with smoked chicken breast. But when I don't want to use chicken, I always substitute the meat with chickpeas. Chickpeas is an excellent meat substitute. And we also, then last but not least, which is the good old sweet potatoes. They provide fuel, and one sweet potato contains 26 grams of carbohydrates. These are healthy carbohydrates, which deliver a boost of energy, 3.9 grams of fiber, which helps balance your energy levels. So it's salmon, hummus, and sweet potatoes. These are the foundational foods in almost every NFL player's diet, and we definitely can incorporate. We can or should incorporate these foods into into our own daily intake. As long as there aren't any restrictions.
I think the word you used, foundation, was on point. When we talk about getting black to the garden, black to the essence. And so the original 8 founder crops of agriculture, and this is across the world throughout history, were wheat, barley, peas, chickpeas, lentils, bitter vetch, and flax. And so when we're talking about hummus, for example, that's one of the founder crops. When we think about sweet potatoes, these are regenerative for the soil. These are actually good for your soil. So when we try to look at this from a holistic approach, right now in North America alone, there's more than 460,000 student athletes. 460,000 student athletes. Obviously, once you get to the professional level, there's only 5,000 professional athletes. So I want the family to put this in perspective. We have a large swath of people that play sports. These are youth sports, your baseball, basketball, football, soccer. But then when you get to the professional level, it's only 5,000. Then when you think of college sports, college sports is 460,000, and in youth league is 45 million. So let me get these numbers straight. Youth league is 45 million kids play youth sports. College, 460,000. Professional is 5,000. What all of these have in common, as per our conversation today, is okay, what's the earliest stage to really promote health? Not just to go out there and batter yourself and play sports. It's definitely a benefit for the athletes, as you speak of. But how do we make this a part of our common culture? Taking it even deeper, when we think about the founder crops, what were the first crops that actually worked? What were the first crops that actually helped our ancestors get to the next day, to the next generation? I think it's very valuable. Salmon, I eat a lot of salmon. My babies eat salmon at least 3 or 4 times a week. Hummus, like I said, this is a healthy agricultural product. When we want to be specific about marketing, there's different ways to prepare hummus. And so when we think about people wanting to onboard, get into agriculture, wanting to find a specific market, just off the top of my mind, as we were doing our research for this show, athletes is a great target market for these value-added products that would be derived from hummus or even sweet potatoes.
Salmon is definitely a staple in my family's diet. I grew up eating salmon. We always ate salmon croquettes, smoked salmon, baked salmon. It's always been a food that we ate. Never knew why. And as I got older and played football myself, and especially when I got to college and was a collegiate athlete, nutritionists, dealing with nutritionists, some of the best nutritionists in the country, I found out that salmon was such a powerful food. And what makes salmon so powerful is that it also helps to fight inflammation. And, inflammation is a big problem whether you're an athlete or not. Basically all sicknesses and diseases are basically come from inflammation and mucus. But salmon helps to fight that inflammation, that may be exercise induced because there are so many omega-3s present. And also it is a good source of potassium and an excellent source of vitamin D. So salmon is just one of those superfoods. It's a lean fish. And I know Brother Lockwood said, you don't have access to fresh fish, but canned salmon will work as well. Frozen salmon, you can get in most of your big box stores, your Walmart or your grocery stores. You can get even canned salmon works just as fine. Now with the sweet potatoes, they are a very nutrient dense carbohydrate, and this helps athletes for their fuel and quick burst of energy. Sweet potatoes are also relatively high in fiber, which supports the digestive system, which is very important, and is an excellent source of beta carotene, vitamin C, and as well as the potassium. Now, when it comes, go
let's
ahead,
look
bro.
at this from a holistic standpoint. And so organizations such as the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. And so this is a cooperative out of Epps, Alabama. It pretty much covers the whole Southeast. Yes. I actually got some salmon from Alaska, and it tastes very different, but it's when we as I'm bringing up this concept of cooperatives, and so the simple, stupid way of how cooperatives work, you're utilizing and leveraging, strengths from multiple people. You don't have just one person trying to produce everything. You have everybody within the cooperative, which generally about 10 entities or individuals contributing what their power is. So, for example, just using salmon for example, okay, we know up in the Northeast, Alaska, on the coast, these are probably going to be your better places to get salmon. When we think about sweet potatoes, so some of your better places to get produce sweet potatoes will be your East Coast and your South. And so, are these personal discussions going on with the people who have the capacity to catch salmon up in the Northeast, having conversations with those in the Southeast about, okay, per X amount of pounds or tons of salmon we can ship that way. How many tons of sweet potatoes can you shoot this way? And that's as simplifying it, but it is very practical. Like I was saying with the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, for example, so one of the projects that their co-op of farmers, these are melanated farmers in the Southeast, is hummus. Uh, when we think about farming, we think about corn, we think about all these other things, but value-added products are a big part of what's going to add value to your operation. When we think about a co-op like Ocean Spray, just for our cranberry juice, for example, this is a cooperative of growers who are raising cranberries. So all of them aren't at the same location. And so when we think about, okay, I'm going to use my land, I'm going to use my resources to grow something, but am I going to have a market? I think one of the key points of what we had discussed before this is the athletes, people who are just very health conscious, want their bodies not only to just survive, but to thrive. Here's a codified diet. I'm kind of thinking about Kanye's interview on the second Drink Champs, where he was talking about literally basing his plant production on the Sebi diet. What that represents in agricultural terms is he's very codified. He knows specifically what he wants to grow and the outcome he wants for it. For the sake of our conversation, okay, salmon, obviously you're not going to grow salmon out of the ground. So this requires somebody that has access and waterways that are conducive for salmon. Hummus, once again, this comes from one of the founder crops of chickpeas. There's also been, people kind of working with beans to create hummus. And then sweet potatoes. What are other value-added products to get from sweet potatoes? I got a homeboy, Hashim. He has sweet potato pie, Auntie's yams. You can make sweet potato soup. I mean, it's dope. There's a brother out of Washington, D.C. that has a specialized sweet potato soup, sweet potato fries. And so there are a lot of different products you can create from these. But when we talk about marketing here at B1 Ag, we want to be specific about now who are we selling this to? Okay, I've gotten excited. I've enrolled at healthyblackfood.com. I understand the process from seed to process. And so now I want to take it up a notch. I know how to feed myself. I know how to produce some of these things from my home. Now I want to expand. Now I want to get into entrepreneurship. And so once again, using this dynamic with the athletes and their diet for an example, this is your perfect target market. Maybe the people in my neighborhood don't want to be like athletes, but if I know that 45 million children are into sports, me as an entrepreneur, if I can get a small percentage of just the kids to buy into this diet, your NFL players are already promoting it. And so these are promotional dollars you don't have to spend. Like you said, Insider pretty much put this out, what the average NFL player is going to have in their refrigerator. But there's your marketing right there. There's your incentive for your young high school player, your young Pee Wee League player that's like, man, I want to get big and strong and be like my favorite player. And so here lies, as the parent or the producer or entrepreneur, well, hey, if you want to be that way, this is what you eat. It's basically a selling point. And then breaking it on down to now, this is the capacity needed to grow it. We know things like sweet potatoes, you can actually grow them in urban environments. Something as simple as straw bale gardening. We also know these do well, obviously, in rural areas. But once again, this goes into this cooperative concept, working with those who are in the area best conducive to produce what you're putting into this co-op. But I think, just thinking immediately, just literally having this athlete's diet. The same way Sebi is Dr. Sebi, the ancestor, is a brand. When you say Sebi, you're not just thinking about the individual, you're thinking about specific healthy foods, specific healthy therapies to help your body. But when we're talking about this NFL diet, it can literally, from a marketing standpoint, work the same way. Even if you're not planning on being a professional athlete, hey, we know that this makes your body work well. We know this energizes your body. You're getting, a lot of protein. You're getting a lot of nutritions and vitamins from this diet. Can we be codified as melanated people who understand that we have an indelible place within this food system? Can we be codified around really creating the systems to produce these products? And not only that, distribute them to the 45 million families who have kids playing sports, or the 460,000 students who've made it to the NCAA sports level.
And the beauty of hummus. Now, hummus, the main ingredient, as we stated, is garbanzo beans or chickpeas. The beauty of this, though, is that the hummus and the chickpea, they're legumes alongside kidney beans and peanuts. Now, legumes help regenerate the soil with nitrogen. They enrich the soil, they make it better. They heal the soil. That's how we were able to get out of the Dust Bowl, during the early 1930s. During the 1930s, the topsoil was decimated and brought along the stock market crash, but George Washington Carver, along with Henry Ford, were able to use peanuts to regenerate the soil, fix the topsoil problem, and bring the whole country's economy out of the gutter. Just using peanuts, which is a legume, and chickpeas are a legume. So not only is just eating chickpeas great for the body, as we said, they are a good source of protein, carbs, fiber, and healthy fats. They're also healthy for the environment. They're healthy for the soil. They're healthy for the earth.
Holistic approach, thinking with the end in mind. Literally, by addressing our health needs, you fix the broader problem, and specifically onboarding ourselves, reasserting ourselves within this whole agricultural framework. Literally, like I said, obviously there's more than athletes that live within our communities, but we understand, realistically speaking, this is a big part of what drives our culture. So how better than to actually have products that serve this group that expands every year. We know more and more kids, young men, young women are wanting to go into sports, even if just for recreation. And so once again, you have this marketing from your professional players to say, hey, this is the diet that I eat. And so the entrepreneurial part that wants to produce, wants to market, wants to store, wants to distribute, we have a very concise, very specific codified product that are derived from either hummus or sweet potatoes that we want to get to this group of people who want to be healthy. This is where your artistic people come in the branding. Same way McDonald's has the red square with the yellow M that's known across the world. You don't have to say the word McDonald's, but when somebody sees it, I'm going to thank McDonald's. We have that same capacity when we think about entrepreneurial opportunities, when we think about what are practical ways that we become competitive. We've seen that rapping sold St. Ides. You know, that was the thing that was popular back when I was younger. And it was just literally through having faces that people recognize, the hip hop culture, the dress, you know, the music, the graffiti, and it helped sell alcohol. So can we apply these same concepts when it comes to marketing healthy diets? Once again, we have our NFL players, our athletes. We know a lot of our young people look up to these people as icons. And so once again, this saves on the marketing. You already have somebody you look up to that's co-signing this particular diet. And so as producers, as entrepreneurs, are we taking advantage of this? This is doable. When we talk about the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, there's also other organizations such as blackfarmers.org. This is with the elder John Boyd. You have Black Farmers and Agriculturalists of America and Black Urban Growers. And so what these represent, because we have a lot of questions of people that like, hey, I like what y'all are talking about. I want to get involved. And so, you know, giving somebody's farm operation, that's like, hey, you know, you like this, let me give you their address. And so one of the long-term goals of B1 Ag, we want to become a conduit for farmers to promote what they have going on and reach, you know, more localized consumer bases. But before that time, there are actually very functional, strong organizations who can already connect you with these farmers. They have ways for you to donate. There's always different initiatives and campaigns going on to help these farmers. And I'll repeat that. That is the Federation of Southern Cooperatives. This includes the 8 major states in the South. You have your blackfarmers.org. You have Black Farmers and Agriculturalists of America. And you have Black Urban Growers. Between these 4 that I just named, there's easily a network of a few hundred farmers or urban growers that, you know, depending on where you're at in the diaspora, can definitely, you know, these are people that you can support directly. These are people that you can glean information from. Once again, if you're just coming from an entrepreneurial standpoint, these are great networks to build. Within these networks, this is how you build cooperatives. You identify now who has resources that are conducive to this end game of what we want to produce. Here at B1 Ag, we're a proponent of producing our healthy Black food. We want to feed the melanated community, not just anything, but the best of the best. And we know to get the best of the best, we have to produce the best of the best.
And for those watching in the live chat, I did drop those 4 links to those organizations in the live chat. So if you're watching this on on Facebook, on YouTube at B1 Ag Daily Bread Podcast, or even on watching our live broadcast on Twitter, you can also see in the chat those live links to those organizations. Now, these football players. Now, this is Cam Newton recently rejoined the Carolina Panthers. And what I would like to show you is a recent picture of Cam Newton with his teammates. And this is just a testament of how they take care of themselves. And a big part of how they take care of themselves is what they put into their body. I can tell you this, being I played football at the University of Kentucky, right in the SEC. So when we ate, we didn't say, oh, we're going to eat. They call eating the training table. They look at eating the way we ate. When we nourished ourselves, they looked at it the same way as lifting weights. They looked at eating the same way as running laps. They looked at eating the same way as practicing. They called it the training table. That's how much emphasis they put on exactly what we ate. I had to write down what I ate every day in a food journal and turn it into a nutritionist every day, every week, and get graded on my diet. That's how important these athletes' diet is to their performance and their health. I literally had to turn in what I ate in a journal and get it graded by a food nutritionist. So it is very important. It is very important. You've seen the way those NFL players look: lean, mean, and ready to go, machines. And that's mainly because of not only their talent, genetics, but the work they put in on the field, in the weight room, and in the kitchen.
Once again, so we've done programming, partnering with youth coaches, youth sport coaches, taking them out to the farm. When we think about this concept of conditioning, and this can be applicable wherever you're at, do you have youth sport coaches? Got baseball, basketball, football, soccer teams. This is a great opportunity to do agritourism. Go tour some of the local farms. Not only that, use this as an opportunity, like you said, these food journals. That's not only useful to an athlete, that's useful to any individual. I was talking to a brother yesterday, Peace to Big Steel, the urban gardener. Healthcare is going to be very different in the next 10, 20, 30 years than what our grandparents or parents experienced. Meaning it's not going to be as accessible to where you can just go to a doctor. We already see the trend. My mom needed me to help her set up the Zoom to meet with her doctor. And so what I'm seeing is this medical intervention, you can say it's good or bad, is going to be a lot more, is a lot less impersonal. It's going to be virtual. And so what are codified specific things we can do to not be caught off guard like deer in headlights? And this is to start early, really talking about health, catching people where they're at. If you're coming from the auspice of sports, hey, your coaches become the perfect conduits of this information. Your coaches become the leaders of, hey, team, now this is what we're going to do this week. Once out of a month during the season, we're going to go to a local farm and just walk around, if nothing else. If there's some safe work for us to do on the farm, have you go out harvest, have you go out water, do some sort of physical activity. Hey, this is great. Run some laps, do some sort of exercises just in the ambiance of a farm. That's, one practical thing. But also, like I said, and you didn't say this before we started, the sports journal. That makes all the difference in the world, keeping track of what you're doing. Because what do they say? Practice makes perfect. It takes 17 days to start a new habit. And so if we can get our young folks started early, really being conscientious about what they're eating, if as a melanated community, we're exerting our energy into making sure we're providing to them the healthy options, because they can go to the store and get this mystery meat, these Soylent Green burgers, this lab grown meat, or because the family got codified in 2021 and decided, what, we're really going to be assertive in what it is that we're going to be doing moving forward. Come 2025, come 2030, this is lifestyle. This becomes a part of our culture, that this group of people cares about their health so much, they take the lengths of actually producing what it is that their young folks are eating, as well as the adults. And this all comes from planning. This all comes from networking. No one, there's some very resilient farmers I know, but no one person can address this broader opportunity. And I intentionally frame it as opportunity because we see a weakness. Our community suffers from a lot of the health ailments that take people to the hospital. We know naturally growing something is a way to address that. We're surrounded by land. 75% of us only live on 3% of the land, meaning there's a lot of space. We have a lot of so-called celebrities waking up. This is our marketing, family. Kanye getting his ranch, doing what he's doing. I just saw that Beyonce opened up a farm growing hemp and honey. So saying that to say the wave is happening. So as a melanated family, as us on the grassroots at the ground level, how can we maximize this locally where we're at? And one of the keys is having a market. You don't want to experiment at this stage of the game. You want to have very specific produce and products that are in demand. Something as simple as hummus might require a 10 individual co-op to make sure you're actually producing the plant, you have processing, you have packaging, you have somebody that can distribute it.
And beyond just, having food and eating like an NFL player, at the All Black National Convention, Farmer Brown and I, we co-hosted or co-facilitated a session with Mars Teray about survivalism. And, chickpeas, your sweet potatoes, in an emergency situation, these are foods that you can definitely grow yourself and would be very beneficial and health beneficial for you to have on deck. If you're growing your own chickpeas, again, that's a great meat substitute, and you can make hummus with it. But you could actually make flour out of it. There's a lot of different food products that you can make from chickpeas. And with your sweet potatoes, this is one of the most nutritionally dense vegetables on the planet. Like you can literally, they say an apple a day and keep the doctor away. A sweet potato away and keep almost everything else away. A sweet potato a day. Like it's a very enriching food, nutritionally dense, and again, it gives you power and also that good, just that feel good. You know how like when you eat a good meal, when you don't feel heavy, but you just feel good, energized, ready to go. That's that sweet potato. That get up and go sweet potato.
Sweet potato pie. That's for the old school that remembers Domino.
Gotta love sweet potato pies. I'm trying to tell you, I miss my granny's sweet potato pies for real. Nothing like a good sweet potato pie. Now, uh, actually, sportcasting.com, they highlighted two NFL players, Von Miller as well as Tom Brady. Now, Von Miller is an outside linebacker for the LA Rams, longtime outside linebacker for the Denver Broncos. He's 32 years old. He's been to 8 Pro Bowls. He's been nominated to 7 All-Pro teams and was MVP of Super Bowl 50. Now, Von Miller, his diet basically consists of, for breakfast, he eats eggs, turkey bacon, fruit, and cold pressed juice. For lunch, he has chicken breast, more cold pressed juice combined with some kind of complex carbohydrate. And as for a snack, he likes to eat beef jerky. Now, the other player that they highlighted was the ageless wonder, Tom Brady. Now, just on the sports side of me, I used to hate Tom Brady, but I really found out it wasn't Tom Brady that I hated more so than the New England Patriots. Now that he's down here in Florida playing for the Buccaneers, I kind of like good old Tom Brady. But that's no Kaepernick, that is. So Tom Brady, he's 44 years old. He was drafted by the Patriots in 2000, joined the Buccaneers in 2020. He has 6 Super Bowl wins with the Patriots and 1 Super Bowl win with the Buccaneers. When it comes to his diet, he's 44 years old playing with these young grizzly bears. For breakfast, he has a green protein shake, greens like kale and collards, and egg whites with protein powder and almond oil. For lunch, he has quinoa with broccoli, beets, avocado, kale, bean sprouts, and sweet potato. For snack, he may have a handful of almonds. And for dessert, avocado ice cream. Now, these are the foods that they eat to stay healthy, stay in shape, maintain their health through this rigorous football season, and also to increase their health during the off season. If it's good enough for them, it's great for us. Because whether we look at it or not, we're not professional. A lot of us aren't professional athletes, but we do exert energy. We need energy. Some of our jobs are really hard jobs. Some people have real labor intensive jobs. So we need to treat ourselves like we're athletes when we look at our health and the way we feed ourselves, because we really do exert just as much energy as these athletes during our complex daily lives. So, Farmer Brown, you think you can eat like an NFL player? Me and Farmer Brown, we sat at the same dinner table a lot, y'all. We broken bread a lot together. So I can tell you, and I can assure, and I can back up, like we eat like NFL players. We do most of the time. And I've sat down with him and the twins, and we eat fresh vegetables and the salmon, and hey, we try to eat as best as we can. We really do. And that's on the real. That's right. And me growing up the grandson of a farmer, and that's just the way I'm accustomed to eating anyway. McDonald's wasn't seen as a treat for me growing up. The treat was just every day. I wonder what Granny cooked. I wonder what Granddaddy got on the barbecue grill. I wonder what Mama cooked. That was our treat every single day. So you have any final words, Farmer Brown?
For the ag entrepreneurs, there are 45 million children who play youth sports. 45 million children in North America to play youth sports. 460,000 NCAA or collegiate players. When we think about ways to engage people where they are based on what their interest is, because within that 45 million children, some of them fall within our families. Using the NFL players' diet as a means of having this conversation, not only about what are some healthy foods, but taking it the next step as an entrepreneur to how do we produce these? Because somebody's getting the bag from whoever these NFL players are getting these agricultural products from. When we have this conversation about healthyblackfood.com, our goal is for the melanated family to understand from the seed. Matter of fact, before you even put a seed in the ground, you understand from the planting stages of what is entailed in growing your own food. Once you learn how to grow your own food, then you can grow your own ag business. And more so than just doing business, we want to feed ourselves. We want to feed those around us, and we want to create a positive, productive lifestyle around it.
And of course, as always, we're going to continue to push this black algorithm and fight against the algorithm.
Pushing the black algorithm. Ancestors, they mastered the systems. We raising your bosses, no victims. Planting that knowledge curriculum. Blessing the roots with the nutrients. The darker the berry, black Nubian. Dropping receipts like I'm Julian. The streets with that food like Peruvian. Trapping the merch and the fruits and the veggies. CSA boxes, my package is heavy. Ship across down in the bed of my Chevy. Printing them up, growing hard for that baby. If you stay ready, you ain't gotta scramble. Bet on black farmers and growers, no gamble. Reclaiming our pain cause the game is in shambles. Blessed with that melanin, carry the miracle. Mothers and fathers of civilization. Black to the garden with food cultivation. Building back better through black innovation. Be one community, growing the nation. Genetically designed to be the dopest. Open that growth mindset. Codified, now we focus. Farming on back on track. Be the fam, break bread with them. Pushing that B1 algorithm. Now watch me get them. Watch me get them. Pushing that B1 algorithm. Be the fam, break bread with them. Pushing that B1 algorithm. Watch me get them. Watch me get them. Pushing that B1 algorithm.
So make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. B1 Ag, Daily Bread Podcast. That's on YouTube. You can check us out on the Black Boss channel. That's part of Dr. Boyce Watkins' news network. Like, share, subscribe. We have to grow this conversation. We have to grow this conversation. We need to stay on top of what's going on with our food system, what's going in with our food, what's going into our food, and also how can we maintain our health and our food security. Food security is day by day, it's becoming more and more important, and that we take steps towards ensuring that we are food secure. With all these shipping container log jams and mandates coming down the pipeline, people losing their jobs, people quitting their jobs, we all still have to eat. And the best way to ensure that we're eating is to make sure that we're growing our own food. It's a God-given right, and we have ways to do it. You can feed yourself or just supplement your diet, but just having that knowledge of how to grow your own food is very, very important. It is a survival skill. Food, clothing, shelter. You can grow all three. Food, clothing, shelter. All three of those are agricultural products. You can grow it all yourself. So, at the end of the day, Farmer Brown, if the people really want to know something, what do they need to do, bro?
If you really want to know something, let's work on physical and mental conditioning, just like these athletes, and learn how to grow something.
There it is. Eat like an athlete. Get you some salmon, some hummus, and some good old sweet potato. It just might save your life. Let's move forward throughout the rest of this week in love. Let's continue to grow, and let some of that sunshine hit your face today. And if it's raining, shoot, even let some of them raindrops hit your face too. It's all good. It's all from the Creator. So until next time, B1 Ag Daily Bread Podcast. I'm John Henry Harris. We have Farmer Brown the MC. We'll see you soon. Peace.